Welcome back to Fitness Manifesto. I am one of your hosts, Kim, and joining me is
Justin. Welcome to this new show that we've started, which focuses on life, awesomeness, friendship, and fitness as a whole.
How's it going, Justin?
Well, Kim, first of all, I'm doing phenomenal, and I want to toss the question back to you. But before I do, I want to say I love our new background.
I absolutely love it. Ted did such a great job.
Kim, how are you?
I'm doing great. Are you frozen today?
Today, it was very weird because I think it's been cold off and on for so long now. I was supposed to go on a run this morning, and I did step outside and was like, nope. Nope.
This is the best temperature to run in, though.
I have this weird range, though. So I used to be like 50 to 60 was like my ideal. And I'll go to 40s now. I can run in the 40s, but honestly, 30s, the main reason I don't is because there could be ice. Wiping out at 5 a.m. on ice.
It would make sure that you're awake, though.
In one way or another. Well, you may be permanently asleep if you're not careful.
This is true. So what are you going to do whenever you run this marathon that is up in a couple weeks?
I'm nervous is what I'm going to say. The one in February, the half marathon, which I think is a week and a half from now, that one, the weather looks fairly decent right now. It should be in the 60s and 70s at least, so it won't be like this cold. So I can handle that. But the one in March up in the woodlands, March is usually pretty nice here, so I'm not so concerned. So I am nervous about the one coming up, though, just because, I don't know. We'll see.
You're going to make sure to put your tights on, right?
Well, Kelly did remind me this morning. She's like, you got to make sure you get that body lube stuff. And I'm like, oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Because I usually wear compression pants, stuff like that to help. But as I had mentioned prior to this show, I did go running the other day and it was so cold that I'm going to share with the audience here that I did shave my old nips.
You're so dainty.
It hurts so bad. Well, you don't notice when you're running. And I went to go take a shower, took my shirt off, and I'm like, man, they're bloody. I'm like, what happened?
It burns.
Holy
it's because you were so cold. You didn't feel anything, see?
Well, so speaking of that, there's actually a great show on Netflix you may want to check out because it's blown my mind. It's called Playground. I think it's called like Human Playground. And it's narrated by Idris Elba. Basically, it goes through different things people do to either experience pain or pleasure or anything. And one of them is this woman who dives on purpose. It didn't say where, but she'll like use a chainsaw, cut through the ice, and she'll go underwater for 30 seconds to a minute, totally like just a bathing suit, and go free diving under it and come back up. Yeah, I'm serious. It's crazy. And she does it.
Okay, wait. So she cuts a hole in the ice because that's extremely dangerous to find the hole coming back up to make sure that you can get back out.
That you don't drown. Oh, there's so many things. So she basically goes through and to find her way out, she only does it when it's sunny out so she can find the hole. She goes with the team, but like most people, I would have thought she had like a rope or something around her so she could find her way back. Like she doesn't. She literally just goes free diving. And what happened last time, according to this video, the last time she was in there, she was in for, I think it was 40 seconds, if I remember right. And she passed out. And so someone had to go in and get her. And this was her first time going back in after that happening. You see her get out and even under the water, her skin, like she's got goosebumps. It's like her skin's ready to pop off. It's so cold. But she comes back out and it takes a long time to obviously get acclimated, but she feels totally different. She says that being that close to death makes her appreciate life.
What's the name of it?
Playground. I think it's called the Human Playground, if I remember right. But we can post the link too, and I'll send you the link as well. But it's just a documentary series. That whole episode, they go all around the world to these. I think each one has like 4 different scenarios, and they're things that I have never before seen or heard of. The latest one is about games that you play, and the idea is it starts off in this village in Ethiopia, and they basically beat each other with sticks, and you lose if you show any sign of pain or you fall to the ground.
Wow. Sounds like a terrible game for one, but I guess for two, we had discussed last week your pain that you were going through with your back, but you had mentioned that you were running. How are you feeling?
So first of all, thanks for asking. So I've done something very different than I've ever done before to get over this. So it goes back to actually kind of what we were talking about before. So originally when I would hurt my back, I would really listen to my body and say, okay, look, I'm going to just chill out and I'm not going to push it. So this time I was like, look, it's happened to me enough and I've done enough things that I know where I can kind of push myself and where I can't. So I would stretch 3 times a day, but in a very uncomfortable way. Like it hurt, but it wasn't like shooting pain. It was dull, achy pain. So I'd push those boundaries a lot. And then I'd use the Theragun, and I would also do some dynamic stretches. One of the things that helped me with this is understanding that you may have pain in your back, but it actually could be radiating for somewhere else. So I realized that my hips were really bothering me. So I really focused on my hips and my glutes and my quads. It's been, I think 10 days. And today was actually the first day that I was able to go outside and actually run if it wasn't so cold. The other day I ran off and on. So I'd walk for a mile, I'd run for a quarter mile, I'd walk again just to get that rhythm in. To be honest with you, knock on wood, I have no pain at all. Now, am I tight? Yes,
that's
but
good.
Zero pain. And I'm continuing with the stretching. I'm continuing with the spa and the cold treatment, and I'm doing the Theragun. And I swear I've never recovered this fast.
Good. But then you also, your body too. So you're also listening to it and can push, not to where it's crazy painful, but like it hurts so good type of pain. Is that kind of where you're at?
So the answer is yes, but I don't know if I classify it as it hurts so good. It's like, because sometimes it'll hurt and afterwards you get that release, right? Like you get that kind of like euphoric feeling. This, I never got that like release, like, because like when you do a really deep stretch and yes, it hurts and you kind of stand up, you're like, oh, that felt great. Or a good massage where they get deep, right? This was more like I guess I could move better, but I never got that release. Like you could tell it was still tight. It was still irritated and it still isn't perfect, but it's better. It never felt good, but it felt better, if that makes any sense.
It was enough for you to be able to complete what you were doing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was enough
that's good.
Push. Yeah.
That's good. So you're getting back.
I am. And it's I guess what's helped the most is the idea that I can, because before, I was devastated because I was like, I can't miss this race. I've got to be prepared. I've got to be able to do at least a half marathon. And I think at that time it was 3 weeks away. Anyways, so I put all my effort into getting better, focusing on balance and understanding that it's all connected and going to the source. Right. So it's not in one spot, it's all over, and focusing on all those different parts to get myself better.
Yeah, you were pretty frustrated.
I was in a lot of pain too. It's so weird. I think it was like doing something like a squat thing. I was putting like a garbage away or something. And anyways, and it made this popping sound and it was like instantaneous. And it's so frustrating. But like we talked about last time, I didn't let it get me down and I didn't focus on it to the point where I'm screwed again. What helped was that I realized there is a solution for this. I will get better. I need to be patient, but I also need to push.
Right. You know your body, so you know exactly how much to push. You know when you can stop or when too much is too much.
You got to keep continually pushing that realm. Don't get comfortable in that spot next time. So if you were, I don't know, for those that are watching live, but for those that aren't, let's say you're at like a 45-degree angle and you want to go to a 90-degree, any sort of progress is progress. Keep pushing until you get to that position that you want to be in.
Yes. And don't go idle. Because if you go idle, especially, with you, because you've been doing the stretching and the Theragun, you've always been doing stuff to keep those muscles warm. Because if you've ever noticed, whenever something hurts or, you got a little tweak, if you sit there and then when you get back up, you're like, oh, give me a second, like if it's your back, give me a second. It takes me a second to stand up. You didn't stay idle, which is good.
No, but one thing I did do at night, I did make sure that I got a lot of sleep at night. So I didn't sacrifice that. And when I slept, I made sure that, for instance, like the first probably 3 nights, I was in a lot of pain. So I took a Tylenol for it. I didn't just try to suffer through the pain. I was like, look, I need to get sleep. So I took Tylenol for it, which helped my body relax. And so I was sleeping. And so I think that also all those things working in concert together really helped.
Did you sleep with a pillow underneath your legs to keep your lower back pushed up against the mattress or anything?
No. So I slept normally. So I think back in September was the first time I went to the new chiropractor that I see. And she made this really interesting point that I never thought of. And that was the best pillow in the world is the cheapest pillow. And I'm like, what? And it was basically because if it props your head up too much, you're out of alignment. If it's too low, it's all these things. So like usually cheap pillows are just barely filled and you can manipulate them and get to the spot you need to. And so what I've been focusing on was using a very soft pillow or whatever that I could manipulate and not prop my head up too high. And so I think that helped put everything also in alignment, if that makes sense.
Nope, it absolutely does. With the MS and the pain that I have in my shoulder and my neck, I have always struggled with pillows. We have tried everything. My pillow that I love right now is the purple pillow. Honestly, I absolutely love
Is that
purple.
A brand?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Tell me about it. I know nothing about it.
It is on the inside of it. There's like little squares in it. It is just one of the most comfortable pillows I have ever slept on. And you your head doesn't stick up. It like goes into it. And I love it.
Do you sleep on your back or on your side?
Mainly I'm on my side, but I will sleep on my back as well. But it's not like this. When you do it and you lay down, my head will sink into it. So I am in one line.
You mentioned it's like cubes and stuff like that. When you roll, do you notice them on your face at all? Like, can you feel them, or is it pretty uniform?
No.
Okay.
No, it's pretty uniform. You can't feel it at all.
Is it like foamy? I mean, what's it like? Is it stuffed?
There is, I can't even explain. There is stuff that is put in it, which is, you've never heard of the purple mattress?
I probably heard of it, but there's so many now between Casper, all these other, I don't really know. My big thing is I want to find stuff that works, that actually will help you. And so how long have you used this purple pillow?
We have had this, it's probably been a couple years, honestly.
Okay.
And I don't struggle with it at all. Usually I would try to shove it back under, and to give my neck more support. And I don't have an issue with it.
When I sleep, I notice, like, especially right versus left, like I'll put an arm out or I'll like tuck it back under, all those things. Like you had mentioned, they'll bunch a pillow up. They'll do things. They'll change the context of it, right? This one, it sounds like it pretty much stays where it's at. So like if you slip an arm under, it doesn't distort the pillow. Is that correct?
Nope.
All right.
It is. It's
I'm
probably, it is the most comfortable pillow like I've ever owned. And usually, Ted's like, we go through so many pillows. We could own our own pillow company. Anything from the super high end down to the cheapest pillow. This like lands in the middle. It was so comfortable.
Nice. Now, do you have a purple mattress too?
We do.
Okay. No, we use I think it's Tempur-Pedic, but so I've used that, God, probably 15 years now. And I love it. I just love it because anytime I have back pain, like it actually does, I swear it helps. It lines you up. It does all that. Is purple the same? Is it, I don't know.
I think it is. Ted has really, really bad back problems. So we looked at the Tempur-Pedic and he's like, I don't want one. And I was like, okay. So then we saw the purple and we laid on it and he goes, this is it. And, we did, what is the super high end Stearns & Foster? We had a Stearns & Foster that in the beginning we loved. And then it started, you could see where you were laying, it started dipping, and mattresses are too expensive to have to replace them like that. And the purple mattress, he's never complained about his back. And he heard it many, many years ago, jumping on a trampoline, and he's got like degenerative discs in there where it's cartilage on cartilage or bone on bone. The cartilage is gone. Yeah, he's got issues and he loves it.
I think all those things work really well together, especially when you think about just recovery in general, like especially now when it's cold, right? Cold weather, if you're not used to it, or even hot weather, like you can't do what you normally would do because it's too extreme. When I think about training, especially like for these things, and especially if my back's bothering me, I have to adjust. If I go from an 80-degree day, which we did, now we're at 30 degrees, you have to adjust your training. You can't do the same thing that you normally would do because you can actually really hurt yourself. And I think people don't think that way. They're like, okay, it's Thursday. I usually run or I bike or I do whatever. Like you have to adapt to that, right?
And like this weather, I will tell you, Justin disagrees with me, but I love biking in this weather outside. Now, walking in this weather, I can't. My right leg, like we discussed, it is what it is. But biking is a different ball game.
I love it in small bursts. I think it's nice that this is going to end in a couple of days. Like I have a hard time.
But it's coming back.
Yeah, but not as cold. It doesn't look quite as cold. This is like we're starting to get into spring a little bit. Maybe I could be wrong, but it kind of feels that way. I've never understood the New Jerseys of the world, the Minnesotas, the Maines. I don't know how you do it. It's so long of cold. And people, my favorite answer always is, but the summers are nice. I'm like, why don't you live somewhere with just summers? Why do you need those seasons to prove to yourself, hey, there's a summer? We all know there's a summer. The world has summers in it. You can have all winters. You can have 4 seasons. One of the best quotes I ever heard was from Daniel Tosh. And he said, why do you live in California? They don't have enough seasons. He goes, no, we have seasons. We have the 2 best. And he's right. That's right. Like, why do you need all 4 seasons? And so this to me is just a reminder of that.
No, I like this. Like, I really do. It's a nice break. When we lived in Wyoming, there were Halloweens where we were in snowsuits to go trick-or-treating for Halloween, in October. And then there were times you get dumped on your spring storms, and we'd have so much snow April and May that school's canceled. and you're still shoveling driveways, I'll take this. We'll be swimming in our pool in just a couple months.
Hang on. So let's go to that point for a second, because this is one thing that I know you and I both definitely agree on. This weather is perfect for the spa, though. I love having that cold chill hit you in the face, and you've got 90, I like about 100-degree water. You see the steam coming off, the wind coming through. Oh, that
makes it perfect.
It is. It's crazy how nice that is.
Yep. We were in ours last night, actually, for a long time. When it's like this, you can stay in it longer.
Well, especially if you get more of your body out. Like I usually do like the shoulders and above, and I'll just sit a little taller in there, and it balances everything out. It's fantastic.
Yes. And then when it kicks back on, to heat back up, I'll sink back down and warm back up.
On that note, Kim, we need to wrap up today, but I want to say thank you so much for another great episode.
No, thank you, Justin. It's always a good episode. I love this. It's so fun.
And that concludes today's episode of the Fitness
Manifesto. I know you guys enjoyed it.
And Kim, I want to say thank you to you and to our audience for making this podcast what it is.
Yes, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys.
And stay tuned for the next episode.